Have you wondered this? How can couples with different values agree on effective rules for their children? Let's start with a little discussion about the different values and put that into context, and then I'm going to share with you 3 powerful rules that I think you're both going to like. In my career as a professional psychologist and working with couples particularly, I've discovered something really interesting, and that is that differences make us relevant and interesting to each other. Think about it. If you were both exactly the same, one of you would be unnecessary. And we won't say which one, but it doesn't matter if you're exactly the same. It's the differences that make us relevant and interesting to each other. It gives us a reason to have the relationship in the first place. Problem is, differences create conflicts. So when we talk about different values, there's also different preferences and different backgrounds and different upbringings and different understandings about what it is we need to do for the kids. Different cultures, different experiences. That's what creates the conflicts. But we don't want to get rid of the differences because that deletes the purpose for the relationship in the first place. It's because of the differences that each of you can bring something unique to the picture when it comes to your family culture. And we're not replicating the family background and culture of either of you separately. The two of you coming together get to create a whole new creation with your family culture. As long as we're bent on keeping our own opinions and our own preferences at the forefront, it will increase the conflicts that come because of the differences. The key really lies in being able to effectively communicate the different and usually good and correct ideas in a way that doesn't have us fighting over them. Here's something else that I've noticed in working with couples all these years. We know that we're right. Now, notice I'm not saying we think we're right. No, it's at a different level. We know we're right. And because we know we're right, we dig in our heels and we assume that everybody else is, you're following it, wrong. And it becomes a fight over who's right instead of what's right. Now, you both have different ideas, so it would be good if we could tap into what those ideas are and focus on what's right, not who's right. The way we're going to do that is through effective communication. Now, it's not the purpose of this particular video to give you a full training on communication, but I will give you a cheat sheet before I get into the next point. The cheat sheet is right there at the URL on your screen. drpauljenkins.com/communication. I've got several important points there. I'll just send it right to you so that you'll have a cheat sheet for becoming better at the communication. Part of the key here is to seek for understanding, not agreement. Now, this might seem a little counterintuitive, but it will make sense in light of the communication model that I'm sharing with you. Seek first to understand. Dr. Stephen Covey taught this very effectively in all of the leadership training that he did. Seek first to understand, and then to be understood. This is a little counterintuitive for most of us because we go into the communication wanting to get our point across, right? But that gets in the way because it's met with resistance. If you take the initiative to be the listener first, just try to understand exactly what it is that is being communicated by your spouse or your partner, the other parent that you're working with. They have good ideas. They're brilliant. They're good. They love your children. And therefore, it's a good idea to seek to understand what their ideas are. They'll be different from your own, but that doesn't mean that they're bad. And it doesn't mean that you're wrong. Sometimes the conflicts come when one or the other or both refuse to end this conversation until you agree that I'm right. Because I already know that I'm right. See what the problem is? So we're changing that up. You're going to seek to understand and then to be understood. In fact, just do this one strategy. Postpone your need to be understood until your spouse is convinced that you understand them. Can you do that? That's the high road, okay? Not everybody does that because they're so busy trying to get their point across. You just show that you can take the high road. Seek first to understand. Now let's get to those rules. Before I share the rules with you, take just a moment to hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so that you'll know when we've got new content for you as a parent. 3 rules. It's all you need. We're going to get rid of all of the exhaustive and lengthy lists of rules that some parents come up with. I got to tell you, one family, I was doing a home visit with this family in connection with a court hearing on child custody. And when I was in the home, I noticed on the wall was posted this list of rules. I think there were probably 40 or more rules on that paper. And I'm thinking about these kids in the family. Are they going to understand that? Do the parents really agree on all of these rules? Where did this come from? And it's a little overwhelming. So let's nail it down to 3, shall we? 3 rules. Rule number 1, respect yourself and others. I'll bet that you two can agree on this rule. Just run that by your partner. Let's see if we're on the same page. Respect yourself and others. This is a rule for both parents and kids, for the whole family. Right behind rule number 1, rule number 2 is all about respect as well, but this time it's property. Respect property. This has to do with stuff and belongings and all of the materials and your physical environment. Respect property. Notice this is going to cover a lot of the things that you're already concerned about. And most parents completely agree that rule 1 and rule 2 are going to cover most of what we're worried about. Do you like those? I'll bet you can agree on those as well. And then finally, rule number 3, also about respect. This time it's respect authority, meaning primarily the parents, because you are the authority in your home. I'm asking parents all the time to step up and be parents. We can't let children run the roost at home because they don't have the maturity morally or ethically or developmentally to do the things that are going to be in their own best interest. We're busy training them and educating them along those lines, but you are the authority as a parent. So step up and be the parent. The rule is respect authority. That means that you cooperate and you obey with reasonable, correct requests. And as a parent, please don't ask your kids to do anything that's wrong or harmful or that violates the first 2 rules. And I trust you to do this. But when you're on that page and you're always asking your kids to do something that's right and reasonable, let's put that in, okay? Right and reasonable. Then you can also expect your children to follow that rule number 3 and respect your parental authority within the home. This also extends to the community, the police, the court systems, the schools. Okay, there's other settings where we have authority, but it's primarily for you in your home, in your family culture. Quick recap of the rules. Respect yourself and others. Respect property. Respect authority. I'll bet you can agree on those 3 rules, can't you? You can tell that we're working on building a successful family culture. Watch that next up video about establishing a successful family culture. I think you're going to like that one as well. We've got your back on this whole positive parenting thing.